Hey, hi, and hello, welcome to the video. It is time to wrap up all the books I have read in May. Buckle in, it's gonna be a long one, so grab a drink, grab a snack. Even in this heat, stay hydrated. I don't want anyone passing out, so we're gonna stay hydrated. I'm gonna, my April to wrap up, I will be getting it into separate parts. And with that being said, it's currently the 26th of May that I'm filming this right now, and I have like 5 more days to read. So this is everything what I read up until the 25th. And then, you know, next week or when May is over, I will be obviously talking about the last couple of days what I read. And then you will see the whole video. It will be one video, but I won't be filming it on one day. Because, you know, I don't know where I will have find the time for it. But believe me, there are a lot of books here. You can see a couple of them here. I always want to go in order that I read them, like throughout the month. But I think I would just grab a book, tell you about it, and put the book aside. Because I don't know how else I'm gonna wrap up all these books. So we're gonna start off with one of my favorite reads of May, which is Fairy Bound by Sybil Sorensen. This was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, I want to say, or like the first half of the year. So I have read Fairy Bound. I rated it 5 stars. This follows directly after Diabound. So where Diabound ends, this starts immediately. It is action filled. It is never a dull moment in this book. I absolutely love it. I would recommend these 2 books. Is the writing like everything and so good? No. The writing can be better, I will not lie, but it is a fun book. So yeah, do with that information what you will. If you're debating on picking it up, I would say do it. Just grab the ebook and read it, and if you like it, you know, obviously grab the physical copy. Because why is there such a run on these hardcovers? I went to several different stores. None of them had them, none of them could order them, and there was a wait list. I was like, girl. So then we got ahead to a bookstore and they were like, we have 1 copy left. So they reserved it for me, and now it's in my hands. But I had like the deluxe edition pre-ordered, and then my pre-order was cancelled. I'm coming for you. No. It is fine. It is fine. To stay in a trend of hardbacks. I read Mother of Death and Dawn, which is the final book in the War of Lost Hearts series. This intimidated me, but I think I did a good job at reading it. I rated it 4 stars. I really liked it. I think this book, or the first book in this trilogy are my favorite. I don't know, you follow mainly for 3 characters going on this adventure to stop a war, but they are also sometimes on different sides of each other, and things happen over the course of these 3 books, and I love it. It is these characters show so much growth. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's scary though. They are all like scary thick, but they were worth it. Worth it. Worth it. Worth it. Talking is still hard. It is also currently 8:15 in the morning when I'm filming this, because it will be hot out today. So this will be the only time that I will see daylight until it's like 8 PM tonight. Because my room will be locked up tight. No, that's a joke. To stay in the Carissa Broadband vibes, I have The Ashes and the Starker's King. This is the 2nd book in the Crimes of Nyaxia series. This book intimidated me. This woman, she writes, but it's so addictive. It is so addictive. What she writes, I will eat it up. This was also a 4 stars. This book also starts where like the first part ends, and obviously I think what I know of this series is that like there will be 6 books, but there will be like 3 different duologies set in the same universe. So like Shadow and Bone, it's like a whole universe but with separate series. So their story is now done, and I think we will see them in other books in this series. But yeah, I read this in a day. I don't know what happened. I pushed this book way too far back, and I was like, I'm gonna read it someday. It was a one-day sitting. I would also say, if you have Spotify, these books are on Spotify as audiobooks. If you ever want to listen to them, that's what I did with them. I listened to them. That's what I needed. I needed to listen to them. I have also The Daisy Chain Flower Shop by Laurie Gilmore. This is the 6th book in Dream Harbor. I don't know if there will be more books in this series, but I don't know. They're all like super short, fun palate cleansers, and I think that if you need a fun small town romance just to read in summer, this is one of the books you have to pick up. It's like spring, summer, the whole vibe. I want to say, if you want to start in this series, read The Daisy Chain Flower Shop or read The Strawberry Patch Pancake House, because I love both of those books. The other 3 in the series, I'm like, moi. I don't know. I started reading The Pumpkin Spice, gave it 2 stars, and this was a 4-star book. So do with that information what you will, but The Pumpkin Spice Cafe was not for me. But I don't know, this was such a fun, cute romance with a little bit of suspense, with a little bit of a mystery going on. But it's so cute. It's fake dating, her ex is in town, getting married, and she's like, yeah, he's my boyfriend. He wasn't the day that he was, you know, and he has this silly little crush on her, and suddenly she's like, he's my boyfriend. He's like, what? It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. I wasn't too sure if I was gonna read it, and then I saw it in stores, like, I might as well. So I might as well pick it up. It might not look like there's a lot of books left, but I also read some books on my Kindle. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about it. Okay, what we're gonna talk about is this series, if I can pick it up, which is the Madison Case series by Tate James. It's a 4-part series, and this is the entire series. I don't know what happened here. Okay, I don't want to talk about it, but we're gonna go book by book. I want to say I rated every single book 4 stars. So overall, I think this series is such a highly recommendation. But I think thinking back on it, I want to say the Hate, which is the first book, will be more like a 3.5, because these characters, this book was setting up the entire series. I was like, okay, stuff is happening. I don't know what is happening, but it is happening. Yeah, pick it back up will be like a 3.5, but I'm not gonna change my rating or anything. But you know, just know that after reading the other 3 parts, I'm like, you know, it was a 3.5, just a teeny tiny little bit lesser than the other 3 books. So you have Hate, Liar, Fake, and Kate. You follow Kate, or Madison Kate. She is called Madison Kate, and then her surname, I don't know what her surname is. Madison Kate something else. Denver. Madison Kate Denvers. And every single time they will call her name is Madison Kate. Madison Kate. Call her Madison. Call her Kate, but not Madison Kate. No. That was annoying as hell in the first book. But in the other 3 books she will get like a nickname and stuff like that. So we have, and basically in this book it's a dark romance set in a small town. I don't want to say it's like mafia, but it's like also not like your normal teenage boys, you know, like but basically Madison, she is getting stalked by someone, and we don't know who that someone is. So that's the overarching plot of all the 4 books. She's getting stalked, and they're figuring it out throughout the series. But obviously she lives with 3 men in a house, and in the beginning she's like, I'm not gonna fall for them. Yeah. I just want to say, if you want a spicy, smutty book series, but with still a plot, but that's what I love about these books, is that there were, yes, there were spies, but there was still plot, and that's what I love about it. So yeah, there's that. And I want to say, this book I paid full price, and then the other 3 books I found on Vinted for like 15 euros. So I had like the whole set, I think for around 30 euros, but my mom paid this book. And then these 3 were 5 each. 5 euros each. Like, I can't say no to that bargain. And I read them. They were fun. So this is your sign to check Vinted from time to time, because like dark romances like that, they will be on there. They will be. Just keep looking. Okay, that sounded so fake. But keep looking. There might be good deals. Most of the time I don't see good deals on Vinted, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. Then I have a Dutch book, 2 Dutch books that I'm gonna talk about. I will talk about them in English, but they're Dutch. One of them is Dutch, one of them is a Dutch translation. Yeah, I'm sorry. But the first one is Focus op Mij from Bo Talisa. I know Bo personally from both being 5 Stars fans. That's how I know her. That's how I learned to get to know her, because we were on like the same For You page and everything. And then I saw she was writing a book, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick it up. I was debating on picking it up, and I was like, I saw it in the store and it was signed by her, and I was like, okay, I have to get it now. I have to support her. So I have Focus on Mij, which follows a band and a photographer, and it's set in London or in the UK. And she gets the job to photograph them on tour, and you follow Shay and Nick. Nick was best friends with the old photographer from the band, and he's having like this little vendetta against Shay because Nick is a they, I'm so sorry. They are like, I'm not vibing with you because, you know, my best friend has been, you know, moved aside, no explanation why the old photographer was sent away. And then obviously Shay does a deep dive on why possibly the old photographer went away, and you know, they go on this whole deep dive. So that's like the background. I really loved it. I gave this 4 stars. I don't know, sometimes I crave. I just need a Dutch book, and this was the perfect timing. I will say I mostly read in English because most of my books are in English, but sometimes I have to go back to my Dutch roots. But you know, you have that. And then we have a physical arc that I got from Zomer en Koning, so very much thank you for giving me this arc. It was a little bit like a giveaway, and they were like, tell me in the comments why you want to read this book, and I was like, you bet your ass I'm gonna comment. So I commented, and they were like, send me your address to this and this email, and then we send you the book. So I read it. With this book is Deze Onsterfelijke Beloftes, which is a translation of Peaches and Honey. If I can find what the original name was. Yeah, Peaches and Honey, but just like a bigger word for it. I don't know what it was, but it is Peaches and Honey. It's the first book, it's a duology. The second part comes out later this year, but I gave this a 3.5 stars. And here's, it's an arc, why so low? 3.5 stars is a good rating to me. You might not think a 3 stars is good, but 3 stars for me was, I enjoyed it, it was fun. I just missed a couple of things in this book. And I think where it went wrong is I didn't vibe with the way it was written. Hear me out. It is translated from English to Dutch. So obviously it was either the way it was written by the original author or the translator. And I was like, okay, I don't vibe with the Dutch translation, let me pick up the English book. I devoured the English book. I loved it. So I think I didn't vibe with the way the translator wrote her way into the book. You know, obviously it's not her book, but you know, things change when stuff is translated. And I think that's where it went wrong, that the way the translator rewrote the book didn't vibe with me. it didn't connect, and so I finished the book in English. I did say my review that I did. I gave my good review on Goodreads and Hebben. I think that's the Dutch version of Goodreads. I have to send it to them, and I will post obviously I will make an Instagram photo of it, but I think I will post it today. It had to be in 4 weeks, but I did post my review already, so yeah, I don't know. I liked it, and I'm intrigued to see when the second part comes out, where that goes, you know. That's what I say is a 3.5 stars is not a bad rating. It just wasn't, I don't know, the Dutch version wasn't for me. I'm sorry. Then I have our book club book for June. Yeah, this is our June book. I already read it. We had our meeting on the 20th, and I finished it the 22nd. The 22th? The 20. I finished it May 22nd. Yeah, you get a gist. It's Never Lie by Frida McFadden. It's such a short book, but I like this. If you're from the book club, I'm sorry, I will talk about this book. I ended up giving this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was such a fun book. It was fast-paced. It was things after things happening, and I don't know. There was like some mixed media, like the the therapist. She recorded her therapy sessions, so you saw them, you read them, you know, and you go back and forth in timeline, and I really enjoyed it. And such a good plot twist at the end. This is my second Frida McFadden book, and I will be reading more by her, and I said that after The Intruder. And then I read back in January or February, and this is my second book by her. I need to pick up more Frida McFadden books, but I don't know where to start. Like, she has so much books, and she keeps publishing books. So yeah. I want to say I'm gonna go rapid fire on my books that I read digitally, and then we'll finish with the last step. Okay, so the books that I read digitally are quite a few. I have a cheat sheet here. This is my book journal. But I read Left of Forever by Zara DeWitt. That is because I got the Arc of Lost and Found. I requested it a little bit for Francis on NetGalley, and then I got approved and was like, okay, I have to read Lost and Found. No, Left of Forever before Lost and Found. I don't know, it makes sense to do that. So I read Left of Forever and I rated it 3 stars. It was a fun book. The characters were fun. I loved that the man was yearning and that we got more of the man POV than the woman's POV. That was something I haven't seen much before, and that's what I really enjoyed. It was a second chance romance. They were married, had a kid. No, they weren't married. They had a kid back in college. Kid grows up to go to college now himself, and they go on this road trip to find themselves again, and then, you know, obviously they fall in love again. I highly enjoyed it. I did. It was a 3 stars. Middle of the road book. Nothing too shabby, nothing too bad. I don't know. It wasn't something like I was like, I'm not gonna read again. But yeah. Then I have Steel Princess and Twisted Kingdom by Rena Kent, which is her Royal Lead series, which is part 2 and 3. Where you follow the same couple as in Thieving King is the first book. And then you have Steel Princess and Twisted Kingdom. These books could be a duology. And hear me out. I know people love Frida Kent, but this woman irritated the hell out of me. Because the first she says, I'm not gonna, you know, listen to him. I'm not gonna, you know, he's not gonna walk all over me again. And a second later, she's on her knees right in front of him, you know. Girl, grow a backbone. And that's what irritated me in Steel Princess. And then I had Twisted Kingdom left to read. I was like, I'm gonna push through because I know Tears of the Kingdom will end their book or their, you know, their trilogy. So it was like, fine, I will read it, you know. So they were both 3 stars. It was okay. It's a dark romance college setting with a little bit of a suspense in it. And you know what happened. I want to know. Blah blah blah. It was fun. Middle of the road book. Then I read Lost and Found by Tara DeWitt as the arc. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was a fun book, I want to say. I loved. You follow B and I forgot names really quickly. B and Silas. That was it. And B's best friend, she dies from cancer. So it's also a book about grieving and, you know, going through it. And B wants to get pregnant. What I got from the book is that she wanted to get pregnant and have the embryo of her best friend. She had cancer. I think she had breast cancer, but she froze her eggs in. So, you know, one day after chemotherapy, after she wasn't, you know, getting better, she could get her own children, and that the chemotherapy wouldn't be the end of it, of that dream of having kids. And but she dies before she could do that. So B is like, I'm gonna do it. And I think it's debated or talked about in the book that, you know, obviously she has approval of doing it. And Silas, he takes her in. And they, I don't know, they bond over that grief and, you know, their loss of their friend. It was a very beautiful book, but what grabbed me the most is the IVF. You know, she had to get IVF, the hormones, the needles, everything that comes with it was so well written that I was so intrigued. My mom has done this thing, you know. So I saw in my own eyes when I was like a little bit younger what a toll it can take on a person to do this. And I was like, girl, I adore you. What I do find, it was like she got pregnant on the first try. Obviously it's a romance book. Obviously there's not, you know, gonna be so much strategy that, you know, the first try it fails and it fails and it fails again. But obviously, you know, I don't know. That was like the only unrealistic part of it. But obviously sometimes it sticks the first time, you know. I don't know, but Lost and Found was, I don't know. The title makes so much sense because they lost themselves and they found themselves back with each other after years of almost no communication with each other. He was still like, if you need help, I'm here, because she needs to pay obviously for those IVF things and it's expensive. And she's like, I'm just renting my house out and I will get a house somewhere else. And he's like, no, you can live with me. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I adored it so much. But yeah, obviously, I don't know. Didn't stick with me. That is what I think what irritates me the most about the books by Tara DeWitt. This is like my 4th book I've read by her. Is that it doesn't grip me. It doesn't grip me the way that I want a heartbreaking story to be. And, you know, obviously I finished the book and I will forget about it because it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't hold me in the way that I would have wanted it to. And I feel with all of her books in that way. But, you know, it is a 3.5 stars, it's a fine book. So on a better note, on a higher note, Fever Dream is released by Elsie Silver. This is such a 5-star read. Emma and Julia. Oh my god, the scenes in this book. I don't know. The weather was so much nicer, you know, when I was reading this book. And oh, it was a perfect book at the perfect timing. I love Elsie Silver, I do. But in this book you follow Emmett and Julia. And Emmett is going to go on this Bachelor TV program, and he's like, I'm gonna date 10 girls, or, you know, he's gonna be the bachelor to get 10 girls, and then, you know, try to find a connection, try to find love, blah blah blah. Where Julia comes in, she is the set director, so she sets up the set, and, you know, she's a little bit of the production. And obviously they can't date, because, you know, for obvious reasons, he needs to find a girl in those 10 girls that have signed up. And then Julia's like, hi. You know, obviously, you know, she's not part of the deal. But I loved it. Seeing, like, the way Emmett has been treated and growing up, and, I don't know, things about his dad. I loved it. And I also like that grandma and grandpa were Oma and Opa. I don't know if it's on other languages also, but it's so Dutch. Oma and Opa. I love it. I love it. Oma and Opa. That's how I call my grandparents. Oma. Opa. Yeah, no. I could go on and on about it. I love when Dutch is being used in books. And then these art in here, like, it's so beautiful, but also so random. It's so random. Like, in the middle of a chapter there will be like a picture, you know, but it's a nice touch. I annotated this book, so this will be mine forever now. I loved it. I highly love it. If you want a Yeehaw Cowboy romance, this is the first in the Emerald Lake series, you should pick it up. You should definitely pick it up. It's so fun. Okay, then I have 3 books by Catherine Cowles. I don't know which is... Oh yeah, Chasing Shelter and Chase Secret Haven. Yeah, part 5 and part 6 in the Sparrow Falls series. If you've ever been around for the last 3 months, you will know that I read Sparrow Falls and I'm raving about it. I absolutely adored it. Where's my cheat sheet? Oh, here he is. Yeah. Chasing Shelter was a 5-star book. The emotions I went through reading this book, I can't tell you anything more, but oh, I love it. Trace, oh, I love them. They're so good. So good. Yeah. Yeah, and then the single dad trope. I love it. This book, oh my god, brought me to tears. So I won't be talking too much about it, but just know the found family gets stronger in every single book. And my chip show keeps falling down. But the found family in the book gets stronger and stronger in every single book. It is so good. And then I have Secret Haven, which I gave also 5 stars. It was... Oh, I can't talk about enough about this series. You follow Fallon and Guy. They're like the last characters that have like that were left. So, you know, you saw sprinkles of them in every single book with, you know, them as individual characters. I love it. I love it. I love it. This whole series, deep in my heart. I will forever be thinking about it. Then I have, also by Catherine Cowles, of course, The Vanishing Sky, which is the first book in the Starlight Grove series. And I bought this back in March, before I read any of the Sparrow Falls. And I was recommended to read Sparrow Falls first, before going into this, because Dex, the main male character from this book, is mentioned in Sparrow Falls. And he's a big character in those series. And then at the end of Secret Haven, it is sprinkled that he's going back to Starlight Grove to go there and to be back at home and, you know, find himself again. So, you know, it sets up this book so well. It is also interconnected to Sparrow Falls. But, oh, and Brayden, I love her. This book was a 4 stars, I think. Yeah, it was a 4 stars. I really liked it. So you follow Dex and Brayden. And they are living next to each other. They're neighbors. But how they meet is that she walks into the house and Dex is naked. She's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, what are you doing here? I got this at her house. And then it turns out they got the wrong key. Or that Dex was giving the wrong key. And it sets up so well. But also, Brayden's best friend Nova has disappeared. And they're looking for her everywhere. And then, you know, that's like the suspense and the mystery part of it. It is so good. So good. If you want a small town romance, but it's not just romance, but also like suspenseful, mysterious, found family, read Catherine Cowles, read Sparrow Falls, read Across the Vanishing Sky. It is so good. And then to stay in a lane with, obviously, small town romances, I have Cash by Jessica Peterson and I have Wyatt by Jessica Peterson. This is the first 2 books of the Lucky River Ranch series. Last Friday I went to Utrecht with my mom and my grandmother, and they had like in this bookstore they had like a sale that if you could get like a certain amount of books, you get a certain amount of money off. So I got Cash and I was like, oh, I thought it was the US edition, but this is the UK edition, so it's like the same height as every other book that I got from the UK. I adore these books. I didn't know what I wanted to read last Saturday. Was it Saturday? Yeah, it was Saturday. And I was like, I'm just gonna pick up Cash. After I finished Lost and Found. I finished it in a day, and then the same with this book. Also finished it in a day. I don't know what it says about me personally, but I have adored these. But in the first book you follow Cash and Molly, she's this big city girl, and she has her own cowboy boot company, and her dad, he dies, and she goes to this, you know, to the ranch where her father lives, and she's like, I want to have the money that my dad left me. And then, you know, she has to stay on the farm or on the ranch for a year in order to get the money. Very fun. And then Cash is like a broody cowboy. He's like, I get the ranch. And then, you know, obviously they fall in love. I really like it. And then you have Wyatt, which is the brother of Cash. Like, all the main characters are brothers from each other. And he and Sally is the main female character. She wants to learn how to date and how to be, you know, to learn her body and, you know, spicy things. I really enjoyed it. They're like fake dating and turns into real dating, but also childhood friends, still lovers, and it is so good. I gave them both 4 stars. So yeah, I'm gonna read Sawyer next, which is book 3 in the Lucky River Ranch. And I will see you at the end of the month when May is over and we can yap more about the books. I'll see you then. Okay, so it is currently Monday, the 1st of June, which means May is officially over, and I'm gonna talk about the last 4 books that I read since I did my last update on my wrap up. I did manage to finish the entire, what is this, Lucky River Ranch series, so I'm gonna be talking about that. And I read another arc that I was like debating on reading in May, and then I started it, and then it was finished. So here we are, 4 more books to talk about. But let's start with Sawyer by Jessica Peterson. This follows 2 single parents, Ava and Sawyer. What I do like is that the male main character's name is literally the title, and I always forget the name of the males in the book, so very nice. But you follow 2 single parents, you follow Ava and Sawyer. They're both single parents of a daughter, and basically they meet somewhere in a bar, and then that leads to like a one-night stand, and you know, they are just like, we're gonna be reliving our best lives right now. And, you know, then he goes back to, obviously, to Hartsville where he lives, and then Ava is there too, because she is this barrel rider, and she's gonna be teaching kids at the barrel ride. So, you know, things start to happen again and again, and, you know, eventually they fall in love. I do like it was single parent, that they're both single parents. Ava, she is such a strong character, because the things that happened with her and her ex-husband, her ex-husband, she went through it all. And I love at the end how Saya was like to that man, like, you don't talk about her in that way, this is why she divorced you. And I'm so happy. I'm just so happy that they got their happily ever after. But I gave this 3.5 stars just because I couldn't really connect to the characters. Normally with a single parent trope, I ate it up. But I don't know, I didn't feel it very much from time to time. But still a nice book, a 3.5. Then I have Duke by Jessica Peterson. This follows Duke and Wheeler. And Wheeler is the best friend from Molly, which is the character we meet in book 1. And that's, you know, obviously where it all sets up. So they are, or Wheeler and Molly, they own a cow boot company. They make cow boots, but more the glamorous ones, you know, the fancy ass cow boots. So yeah, and Duke, he is a cowboy living at the ranch. I must say, it took a while for this book to start running, because they are going on this trip for the cow boot company, and you know, one thing leads to another. They hook up. They're snowed in, so you know. And you know, it's a surprise pregnancy trope, which normally I would like, but I don't know. I feel like if they would have talked earlier in the book, I would have liked it more, because you got to see more of them accepting they were both gonna be parents, or you know, they were deciding not to have the baby. I don't know. But they talked about it at like 75%, and I was like, girl, why are we talking about it now, not earlier? But in the book, I think she was like 4 weeks pregnant at the time they talked, so timeline wise it was making sense, but not with how far we were in the book. And because of that, the end felt very rattling and fast, and suddenly it was over. Suddenly there was an epilogue. It was like, but I didn't get to see them as much accepting that they were gonna be parents, and especially Wheeler for stepping up to be a mom. You know, since the moment Duke heard he was gonna be dead, he was there. He went after Wheeler. He was like, I'm gonna make sure you're okay. So Duke carried this book. I don't know, giving it 4 stars, because I couldn't do it less, because Duke was the man in this book. I don't know, it just, I couldn't rate it lower than a 4. But just now, I don't know, if they would have just talked earlier, I would have been like a 4.5, or I don't know. And then we have my least favorite of the book in the series, which is Rider by Jessica Peterson. Oh boy. I ended up giving this 3 stars. This is, like I said, my least favorite out of the whole series. And I don't know, from the beginning on, I didn't feel a single thing for these characters. I was like, okay, we're here now. What's gonna happen now, you know? You follow Ryder and you follow Billy, and Billy, she wants to be a barrel rider, but also, or two. But at the beginning of the book, she falls off. It's the horse? She falls off the horse, and you know, she ends up getting CPR, going to the hospital, getting surgery because she broke her arm. The whole shenanigans. And Ryder was there. That's what I liked. Ryder was there. And then, you know, obviously Gold, which is Billy's brother, is Ryder's best friend. So they started secretly dating, and they were like, oh, we can't tell Gold, we can't tell Gold, what if he gets mad? Girl, get your shit together. Get your shit together. No, I don't know, I was happy the book was over. Let me say that, you know. I do want to read Gold though, because I'm very intrigued to his story. And I think that's coming out in August of this year. The Way This Woman has published all of these books, all 5 of the series, I think, in a year time. Because I remember that I saw people, you know, getting the art for Duke. And I was intrigued to read it, but I never picked it up. And then 2 months later, people were getting the arc of Ryder. Like, I think this was published late 2025 and this was April 2026. The way it was pushed so much that I can tell that this book could have been better if, you know, there was maybe more time. But I don't know, maybe she wrote all 5 books before even the first one got published. I don't know how that works, but it was insane. But I read another arc, which is Stormy Weather by Chelsea Curto. And I want to say, I had no hopes I was gonna be getting the arc, because I signed up months ago. And I think 3 months ago, people were getting the arc from Negalie. And I was like, where's mine? And then last week, I get an email like, here's your approved copy for in Stormy Weather. I was like, oh my god, I cried. When I cried when I saw that. I don't know, Chelsea Curto, over the span of I think the last half a year, she has been such a author that I want to follow. And I can't wait for Crosscheck to come out this month. It is pushed back to the 20th. But I don't care. I don't care. I will be reading it on the 20th. It might be pushed back 3 months later. We won't be calling that. But I'm very excited for it. But in Stormy Weather, we follow 2 people. Or, you know, we follow, I'm bad with names, Quincy, and we follow Sebastian. I think his name was Sebastian. And they are both people in, you know, they both talk about weather. But Quincy, she has this PhD. She is a woman in STEM. She knows her shit. She knows what she's talking about. And Sebastian, he's like also that. You know, they were the academic rivals for young people till where they are now. They have always been rivaling against each other at school, at work opportunities, internships. It's also brother's best friend. But Quincy, she is a influencer. She talks about, you know, the weather and storms and thunderstorms and tornadoes was mentioned also. But she's like specialized in like those bad weather, extreme ass type. She knows about all of it. So she goes on live on social media every day at a certain time, and people always check in and, you know, a little bit of talking back and forth. I really liked it. And then there's Brendan, or why do I want to say Brendan? He's not Brendan, he's Sebastian. But they end up chasing a storm together. And people on social media like that that's how they are together, so they will do more live streams together, more videos together, and things start to unravel, and, you know, they're like, maybe I'm not so bad, you know. And then, oh, it was so good. It comes out the 16th of July or the 14th. It depends, I think, if you're in America or UK and / Europe. They will be different, because I think in the USA mostly book releases are on a Thursday, and you're in the UK and Europe. I say this here in the UK as I'm in the UK and not. But in the UK and Europe, it's mostly on a Tuesday. But I can't wait for it. It's like a couple of days after my birthday. So it's a perfect birthday present for me to go and shop those books. But I ended up giving it 4 stars. I haven't said that, but I ended up giving it 4 stars. And once it's out, I will be running to the bookstore to get the book. I know, but those were all the books I read in May. And even I baffled myself with the amount of books. Yay. No. Yeah, no. Yeah, that was the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked, please leave a like. Feel free to subscribe down here. Follow me on my other socials. They will be somewhere here and down below, linked in the description. And I will catch you in the next one. Goodbye.